everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Matt. This is Prime Analog Records, and what I wanted to show you today is I got stuck in Orlando yesterday because I had to take my new Mac Mini over there that I turned around and spent like $1,500 for, and I tried to migrate everything over, and the thing froze up on me, and it wouldn't connect to the internet, so I had a fun experience of running over to Orlando to drop it off at the Genius Bar. I know it sucks, but it's got to be done. But anyway, got it straightened out, and I also had a couple of hours to kill while I was over there, and I wanted to check out some of the different record stores over there, and I found a really good one. It's called Remix. It's right off of North Mills. And I found a bunch of records over there. I'm not going to show you all of them because a bunch of them, I probably got about 7 or 8 records just for VCLT that I'm gonna share with other people. Anyway, I'm going to show you that. Hey, what do you think about? What do you think of how I did this, Chance, with the sticker? Anyway, so. The first one I got was a near mint copy. Now the cover's not in mint condition, but it's in great shape. I mean, this is the Cars Shake It Up, and the album actually looks like it's unplayed. It's in that kind of condition, and I mean, you guys know me. I really I go through and I do ultrasonic cleaning on all these things before they ever head towards my turntable, or even before I put them on the channel. So that's what I did. I spent, when I got home yesterday, I spent time cleaning all these records. The next one I got to show you, and I know there's a bunch of you purists out there who hate this guy, but this guy has made some amazing albums, made some great records. Neil Diamond, Headed for the Future, and this is a great album. It's actually got several songs on it that Bobby Caldwell wrote. One's called Angel, and the other one's called what is it? It Should Have Been Me. But there's some really great songs on there. It's a really great album. So the next one I found is I think it was Miss 80s. I think it was Beth over at Miss 80s was doing or showing some James Bond stuff, and I thought to myself, I've got some James Bond stuff, but I'm kind of light in certain places, and I saw this and I knew I had to pick it up, and that's in great condition. It's an iconic picture, obviously, and Sheena Easton sings a song, For Your Eyes Only. It's in great shape. It's like it's another one. It looks like it was unplayed or played once. Now I picked up this the other day because everybody was talking about Exodus and I didn't have it, and I got this Back in Black, Back to Black, copy, and it's really great. It's very dynamic. It's really strong. It's a really strong copy. I mean, I wasn't going to spend a whole bunch of money, or like Mobile Fidelity, I think, just came out with one, or it was Analog Productions. I get these things mixed up so many times, but anyway, this sounds great for somebody who's just going to kick it, play it, and get that island vibe and all that kind of stuff, which I really like all the time. So living in Florida, you smell coconut oil, and you got to have some kind of vibes like this going on, because it really makes for a great experience to feel like you're in the islands. All right, so I did it. I could not find my original of this album, and so I picked this one up too. And this, I think, this is my opinion, but I believe this is the very best album that Michael Jackson ever did. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of people going to argue with me about that, but pure musically, this is a great album. It sounds amazing. It was recorded very beautifully. It's a great album. It's a great feeling album, and it's probably the last time Michael Jackson was black. So anyway, so I got another one. I got another one that I had on CD, but I didn't ever have it on. I didn't have it on what do you call it, on wax. I didn't have it on LP. and it's this album here. And this is an amazing album. I love this album by ZZ Top, Eliminator, and it should be in everybody's collection. The vinyl is absolutely pristine. It's hard to believe how perfect this is, because generally when you see these in a wild, they are roached. They're really roached. So, but it's a great album. It's got Legs on it, and Give Me All Your Lovin', and it's a classic album. I think it's one of their very best. Now here's a surprise that I kept making fun of the guy who was at Remix, because he had great dividers, and it was set up in a really good way so you could find things really quickly that you were looking for. And he had all these dividers, and every time I'd pull a divider back, it was like a tease because there'd be nothing in the bin. So I kind of gave him some shit about it, and he said, actually, oh no, this is what helps. This is why it helps to actually talk to the shop owners and get to know them. This guy was really cool, and he kind of led me around to some places that I wanted to see and things that I wanted to see. And he actually shortcutted my vision, because he's kind of like a 1 or 2 person setup over there. So he basically laid his hands on almost every single album that he had. But this one had just come in. And I told him, I said, what is it? Why do you have these, like this one divider? It says Art Blakey on it. And I go over there, and there's nothing in it. So anyway, he said, actually, one just came in, and it was he VPI cleaned it, and it's Witch Doctor, Art Blakey, and this is amazing. Golly, this sounds good. It's got Lee Morgan on the trumpet. It's got Hey, how are you? All right, so I'm sorry about that. I had a technical issue. So anyway, this Art Blakey and Jazz Messengers, it's got Lee Morgan and Wayne Shorter on it, which it's just, these are soaring performances. It's just sonically, it's just out of this world. It sounds amazing. It's I put it on, and I was just totally hypnotized by it. I kind of closed my eyes, and I mean, it was one of those great experiences. I think everybody should have this in their collection. Even if you're not a jazz person, so to speak, this has got just everything you could possibly want in a beautiful pieces of music. So, but of course, you guys know me and Weather Report, and I see something like Wayne Shorter on there, and I'm like, I gotta have this. Well, this is nothing like anything I've ever heard by Wayne Shorter. So this is, I think, was at the time that he was, before he was with Miles, or when he was with Miles afterwards. I'm not sure. I haven't really broken down the time, because this is a repress. This is a 1981 repress of this album, but it's pretty stunning. Okay, I found one more that I thought was amazing too, and I couldn't believe it. It's Pat Metheny Group, Still Life, Talking. It's got huge sound stage, huge. It's very, very, it's recorded very loud. So get ready. I mean, it's like prepare your amp for it, because it's recorded very loud. And then I, of course, digging around in credits. And this is why you do this. You have to dig around in these credits. I keep telling you guys you should do that, and it'll shortcut your whole journey. It really does. But Pat Metheny on this album here, Robert Ludwig. There you go. That's why it was recorded really loud. But Robert Ludwig is the mastering engineer on that. There's a song on here, and I'm not sure where I've heard it. I've heard the song, though. It's called Long Train Running. And it might be on another one of his albums. I'm not sure, but I've heard this song. But gosh, it sounds amazing on this. Just incredible. If you guys know that song, let me know in the comments down here about the song and about where I might have heard it, because I'm certain I've heard that song somewhere else, and I've got multiple albums by Pat Metheny, and Pat Metheny Group. I mean, he's got the normal players in there with Lyle Mays and stuff like that, but this is it's a very strong album, one of his strongest. It's a great addition to my collection, and I'm really happy I got it. All right, now here's another one. I was talking to you about jazz players and stuff like that, and this is Michael Johnson, okay, and it's called Lifetime Guarantee, and it is really incredible. Everybody thinks about Michael Johnson in Bluer Than Blue and things like that, but actually he's got jazz roots, almost like everybody I really love. I mean, even with Bobby Caldwell and stuff like that, these guys were jazz players. They learned jazz. And on here there's no difference. I mean, there's Eric Gale's on here. There's what do you call it? Dave Sanborn's on here on multiple tracks. Larry Carlton's on here. I mean, this is a really great album. It's really well recorded, and it really does sound like audiophile quality. So I highly suggest people to get this. Go check it out. I mean, you got the Porcaro brothers on here, Jeff and Mike on here, and you've got Abe Laboriel playing bass, and it's a wonderfully recorded album. So anyway, that's Michael Johnson and Lifetime Guarantee. All right, one more thing I wanted to clear up. I think I told you before I reached out to Rob over at Northern Revolutions, and I talked to him a little bit back and forth about this Butcher cover that my ex boss, who I worked at a record store with him in Winter Haven here when I was growing up, and it was called Carousel Records in Winter Haven, Florida. And he came over here and saw how many records I had. He about flipped out. He says, you could open a store here, which I thought was funny. But anyway, he calls me about, it's been now probably about a week. And he called me, and he was really excited. He told me he has a Butcher cover. And I was like, okay, let's take a look at it. And then he took a couple of days, and he brought it down here. He lives in my neighborhood. And he brought it over here, and as soon as I saw it, I did not see Ringo's, triangle where his turtleneck was, and I immediately thought something's amiss. But I don't know enough about it. One thing I noticed is that they were talking about, and something I was reading, it said that down by the RIIA symbol on the back cover in the back right, if you have a 4, that's Jacksonville. Well, I was kind of interested, because I thought to myself, well, because we are in Florida and he got it here in Florida, I thought it probably came from the Jacksonville plant. It did not have a 4 there. It has a 3 there, and I don't know what that means. I can't find anything about that. You guys all know about Beatles way more than I do. So anyway, it really does look like it's pasted on. He's got the original cover that is not the Butcher cover. It's the one that covered the Butcher cover, and I don't see that triangle, so I don't think he's got a Butcher cover. And but it does, that cover looks very thick, so I don't know, but. Anyway, tell me in the comments down there what you know about this kind of stuff. And it's like, also, if anybody knows more about that stuff, let me know, because he's got several different things like that, and I wanted to kind of reach out to you guys to find out if you knew anything. while I've got you guys' attention, I just wanted to touch base on you my rules and what I've said before about about record store day, and just to do a quick run over what we had talked about before in another video. The very first thing you should do, set a budget. Do your homework also and pick out what you want, what you're looking for, number one, number two, and put it in the order that you want to find it, because these are a free-for-all. It sucks. I'm not a real big fan of record store day. I generally like titles that not everybody's looking for. So I'm good at that. But the first thing you got to do is when you go in to get these records, if you're getting any used records, the condition is key. Also, on the new records, make sure the condition's right there too. Check your corners, make sure that there's no damage to it. There's a lot of damaged new records out there, lots of them. I've gotten many of them. I just got one the other day and I had to send it back. I'm not putting up with this anymore because these prices are too expensive. Even when you get a used one, and I've got a Michael Franks album that I ordered 19 days ago, 19, and it's still dicking around in the system, the USPS system, and it's sat at Jacksonville for 6 days, and they finally moved it on, and they moved it past me. They moved it down towards Miami, which has pissed me off something fierce. I've been trying to figure out how to contact the Postal Service, and of course they've got, junk over there as far as this automated stuff, and you can't ever talk to somebody real, which is aggravating as hell. Anyway, you need to be interested in the music, but don't get so stuck on a title. Look at the credits. If they show credits on the outside, even on the old stuff, pull that out and look at the credits. See if there's stuff on there that you recognize, like people on there that you recognize from other albums that you like. This common denominator has led me in great directions. Things that I've looked at and I just say, oh well, let me see what this producer is, and the producer is somebody I know very well, who does this other person that I really like. So don't be afraid to get some stuff ears unheard. Let's see. Don't give me that. Don't be trying to get so many records, because I just moved it. I mean, I moved about 2,000 records, and it's not fun. Choose wisely. And like I said, condition is key. And the number one thing in record store day, I believe, is don't get caught up in the FOMO. I believe that's what everybody in the record business, in the record store day situation, is set up for fear of missing out. And if you do that, you're setting yourself up for a big fall. I think that these flippers have ruined it for everybody, and I don't care about them. I usually have very eclectic taste, but I know that many of you like pop music and stuff like that, and you can easily get caught up in, what if I don't get it now? And Chad's big thing, buy now or cry later, and all that kind of stuff. That's all set up because he's a marketing genius. So anyway, so that's basically all I've got for you today. I hope you guys have the great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you soon. All my best. Also, I wanted to give you guys some information about something that just happened to me too. I just replaced my lamp cord, basically cables, my speaker cables for my cornwalls over here and here. And boy, what a difference that made. They went above and beyond. It's a company called Transparent Audio. And anybody wants, I'll put a link. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description. But the guy over there I dealt with, his name's Ian. When I got him, he first sent them over to me. They FedEx these things, so you don't have to wait a long time. It's amazing. So Anyway, he sent them to me, and I got them, and I was like, oh shit, because I couldn't figure out how to actually connect them to my vintage integrated amp and my vintage speakers, and the connectors were they just didn't work for it. And I called him, and he immediately took care of my problem. He said, box them up, send them back to me, and we'll get it set straight. I got him when we were talking on the phone. He had already pulled up what Cornwall's back then, what the connector looked like, and he said, yeah, we can change all that, and we can put custom connectors on there. And I was afraid it was going to cost a whole bunch, and he said, no, it's free of charge. Just send the other cables back, and we'll modify them. So he did. I got them back probably about 5 days later, and have hooked them up. It was simple, Simon, to hook them up, and it's amazing. The huge difference. Soundstage difference. The bass response is a little bit. It's a little bit less, which is really good because these Cornwalls are gigantic. Man, they have 15-inch woofers, so I mean they move air. So you guys have heard me talking about this stuff. So, and also I wanted to thank Michael over at Poetry on Plastic, and I just said something to him today on Rachel's Ghost, her live. He was on there, and I actually wrote something for him. But actually, he advised me to get these cables, and we went back and forth, and I talked to him a little bit. And this is why the vinyl community's here. I think that we have shared experiences. We can learn from each other. I love to send VCLT to people to see if they can, if they like this stuff, and I think from their channel what they like and things like this, and I think that's really great. I think it's a wonderful thing to do. I think, but going back to my other initial rant, I'll tell you. I mean, this guy that I bought this Michael Franks album from over in I think he was in Pittsburgh or something. It wasn't that far away. But anyway, he sat on that purchase for probably 3 or 4 days and said he made a label, and that's the date that it starts at. But the thing is, though, he sat on it for 3 or 4 days before shipping it. Come on, man. Really? Are you serious? I mean, look, when I sell an item, I'm down at the post office the very next day. And if it's not the next day, it's because it's the weekend. I mean, if you're going to play like you're running a business, do it right and take care of your customers. Man, I mean, I was pretty pissed. I'm still pissed because I still don't have the record, and it's been 19 days. So anyway, that's all I've got.